Hey everybody, my name is Daryl and this is Dion.
Hello.
And welcome to Where We Stand. Today we're talking about Kena Bridge of Spirits. I want to say Kena and the Bridge of Spirits, but that's not the title. Which is available on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the PC. Now that we're queued up and ready to go, let's get started.
So let's talk about our experience with the developer. I have none. First game playing by this developer, nor have I heard about them any time before that. Daryl?
I'm familiar with Ember Labs from the Majora's Mask animation they had a while back that was like circulating around the internet. And I think they did other animations besides that, but that's the one that I knew of from the jump. So when I heard that they were making a game, this was after Kena. Like, I didn't know Kena was them until someone pointed it out to me. I was like, oh, that's them? Oh, now I'm more excited because I knew it would, at the very least, if the game wasn't fun, it would at least look pretty. So I was interested from the get-go.
Let's go over the story very quickly. You play as Kena, a spirit guide who helps those who pass move on to the spirit world. As you search for the ancient mountain shrine, a masked spirit appears who is not ready to move on. With the spirit blocking your way, Kena discovers a village near the corrupted forest. Now, you must help the village spirits move on from their cursed past along with the help of the rot. What are your thoughts on the story, Daryl?
Well, first of all, I just want to point out this is the second game this year I've played where I've had to help spirits move on in a video game. The first one was The Medium back in January, so this is funny that towards the end of the year I play another game where I'm sending spirits home. But besides that, I found the story enjoyable overall. It was short, but I actually appreciate the fact that it didn't overstay its welcome. I enjoyed the cast overall. They weren't anything groundbreaking, but they were convincing enough to make the world believable. What about you, Dion?
For me, the story was pretty simple, but it does serve as something that pushes you forward. I believe it tells the background story of your enemies pretty well, which I really enjoyed that, where you got a cutscene for every big boss you fought, and you got to learn a little bit about them as you.
Some of them were legitimately
levels.
Creepy.
Yes, some were creepy, but you still got to experience a little bit about them as you progressed in their area, and then you get the final backstory at the end. Though that, it got predictable, I still thought that was super cool. And it gave each boss a good and interesting backstory, right? So something we can build off or look forward to after we beat a very difficult boss in a lot of situations, actually. And then the presentation of the story was impressive. There's nothing else to really say there. I mean, it looks great. I loved how the cutscenes looked. Even though it looked like pre-rendered cutscenes, it still looked very in-engine. Like, the game in-engine didn't look much different. So I don't know why they actually did pre-rendered in some of these cases, but it was very good. I enjoyed it.
All right, fair enough. Now we're going to talk about the world design overall. The game takes place at a village located near a mountain shrine. Players have the opportunity to explore a cursed forest, a field with a large tower in it, and mountains. Just straight up mountains. Don't fall is my advice. If you're walking along a mountain, it's obvious advice, but some people need to be told. What did you think of the world design, Dion?
So world design wise, the world is a good size for exploration, similar to some of the older Zelda games. Those games had a very similar style where you find a new ability, a new weapon, or tool that lets you navigate more of the world. This game takes that almost exact, and that's how you kind of get through the world in a linear fashion. I love that you could get to anything you can see. Literally anything. Reminds me of Dark Souls and how that world worked, where you went through corridors and you come out and you could see places that you explored before. And how you could see places you can go to. Not sure that you can go to them until after you get there, but it's so cool when you get there or you're looking up. I remember, in the beginning of the game where you're going through and you have to get to the big house on the hill and traveling up that hill, I'm looking back like, wow, it was down there. And then when you finally get all the way up there, like, wow, it's all the way down there. And then you get to go all the way back. And so I really enjoyed that experience. So I thought that was impressive from a world design standpoint. Graphically, the game is very impressive. I mean, I think this is what the game is known for at this point. It just looks very good. The draw distance, even at low graphics, which I was running, was extremely impressive. I mean,
you're running it at low?
I am running it at low or medium, something like that.
Okay, that's about where I was too.
Yeah, makes sense that I'm playing on 4K TV. But you could see pretty far in the distance. You could see everything. It looks so good. Now, from a design standpoint, the exploration I thought was decent. They had chests and collectibles that exist throughout the world that you use some puzzles or combat challenges to find, in addition to following your main path. So it had a little bit of exploration of finding cool things, but it's not a huge, vast open world. And I think it fits the game. And I give pretty much the world design solid A, really good.
I'd agree with that. In my case, the world is gorgeous to look at, and as you gain new abilities, you find new ways to explore it. That said, it's not a big world, as Dion alluded to, but that's hardly a complaint on my end, considering that I feel like Ember Labs just essentially said, we're setting out to do this and this alone. We're not trying to bloat the game with a bunch of other stuff just because we can. We're just doing this, and I can appreciate that. I really can.
But let's go a little bit into gameplay here. So the rot was one of the first elements.
The rot.
Which they're going to play a big role in this game.
You can
throughout
pet them.
multiple parts. And you can pet them and dress them with hats.
Yes.
And dress them with hats, which I actually didn't really care for, but was cool. They do affect multiple parts of gameplay once you get access to them. Your combat ability, your character customization, they follow you around. You can customize them with hats, of course, that we just mentioned. Mm-hmm. They power up your attacks, and they're used for navigation as well, so they help you get around the world. So the rot, I think, plays a big role in how the gameplay, and they build around that. So going into combat,
it has a very Pikmin-ish vibe to it.
Ooh, you know what? That's a really good. It does. It does. Maybe that's why I like it. Huh. So
I can totally see that.
So moving into combat, you have melee attacks, which are very basic. You have a bow, which I really enjoyed using, actually, that you can power up. You have bombs that you can throw out, and you have rot-powered attacks. So all of those moves have a rot special ability that you power up that does even more damage or does something cool with the special effect. I think the bomb freezes and slows you. Freaking great. Not you, the enemy. So not you, the enemy. The melee attack gives you this big explosive attack, which was OP. And the bow you can like kind of spear through. So you have all these rot powered attacks. And I thought that was a really cool extra to the combat. But really what makes the combat a little better is the customization. You start off really basic with your abilities, and then the customization, the points you get to spend on, each one feels very impactful. Like you're really getting a big boost, very exciting, and you can do an attack, or you can do, hey, I can now use 3 shots in a bow, 4 shots, 5 shots.
Yeah, so that extra arrow really comes in handy.
Oh, it comes in handy. Or the bombs, you can now do 2 bombs. And now you do melee. You can now
Your
run.
shield lasts longer.
Shield lasts longer. I even talk about shield. I don't even have that on here. Shield and counter. We're very strong. So it really, continues to grow your character. And I love that every new ability point that you get feels so good to use. And not every game can accomplish that. I know a lot of games have tried and still fails. So kudos to this team for really making that happen.
Yeah. And in my case, I'm kind of focusing on a various amount of things here, but for me, combat is surprisingly difficult if you slip up. Like you would think that when the game starts out, it's like you just hit these enemies and they die. Okay, there are a few combos there. And then they start throwing more at you. And then they start throwing tougher enemies at you that used to be bosses in the middle of combat, and now you're thinking, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Now it doesn't help that sometimes I forget I have a shield because I'm so used to with the way the game plays. It feels like it's not a Souls-like, but it feels like it when you're fighting at least one enemy sometimes that has a lot of ways to attack you and whatnot. So I would be dodge rolling a lot. Man, the amount of times I've come out of boss fights and whatnot with like 1 hit left was like too many. But that's what helped the fights feel like really close and really tight, and I did love that. I also loved that Kena got dirty and more bruised visibly the more you got hurt, because not a lot of games do that. So I really did appreciate that.
I didn't notice it.
My only complaint regarding combat is that enemies can be a little sticky, meaning they can start a wind-up attack, and then you dodge when you think you should be dodging, and then they zoom at you and you see them go by you for a moment, but then they kind of lock onto you and turn in place and then smack you, and you're like, what the fuck? That's not cool. But eventually, once you get used to their timing, instead of relying on yours, then it becomes a little more manageable, or you just learn how to parry. Because you can parry in the game, just pop your shield as soon as they're about to attack. But sometimes their telegraphs are hard to read.
Yes.
And I'm honestly surprised that there's that much put into the combat. Not as an insult. It's just not what I expected.
I know. And then, it looks like a kid's game, and you get in there, and normal is not easy.
No, I got fucked up several times. I'm like, what the hell?
We played on normal, not hard, normal.
And then the game, when you beat the game, it's like, you've unlocked master difficulty. And I'm like, no.
I said, I think not, uninstall. Oh, man. Yeah,
it's good that it's there for people who want to do it, though. But still, I was like, nope.
I appreciated that it had some difficulty. And the game didn't hold your hand. It didn't tell you outright how to solve the puzzles, right? Like or the combat issue instances. It reminds me of Psychonauts 1, actually, where you kind of had to figure out what abilities you need to use to get past the boss. I remember I was stuck on the stone boss, and I kept throwing, and I couldn't figure out what to do. And then I actually figured it out, and it was like, oh, finally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought that was good. Good difficulty.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think we're ready for our final thoughts here. So for me, Kina is a good, quick experience that is graphically impressive and fun to play regardless of the slow start. It does start a little bit slow before you're like, oh, okay, I like it. This is good. Yeah. Each new ability is exciting and pushes you to the next level of experience, and I think that was a key winner for me. I really love that. Though simple, the story and characters do leave you wanting some more. They're not amazing, but they are good enough to keep you really pushing through and looking forward to that next special thing that's going to happen. Additionally, the length of the game is a good fit for the $40 price tag. If it was any shorter, probably not, but for what you're getting and the length you're getting, I'm happy it was $40. It fits, and it was good. I hope we get more.
Yeah. And in my case, this was a good first game for Ember Labs. Good job. And I definitely enjoyed my time with it. I really like that the game isn't bloated for bloat's sake too, because I don't think extending this game another 7 to 9 hours with what it offered would have been wise. Some developers feel the need to do that with games. I'm like, no, don't be afraid for your game to be on the shorter side. People will actually appreciate that more than you think they would. At least the older you get, you appreciate shorter games. I also enjoyed how simple and straightforward everything was as well. Like the predictability of some things would normally rub me the wrong way in some games, but I don't know. This game seemed to nail that straightforward nature pretty in a way that didn't make me feel like, ugh, I'm bored. It was more like, no, I know what's coming, but I still want to see it. Show me. Grab it if you want. But even if you don't, you should at least watch a playthrough of it because the cutscenes alone are worth, checking out.
Alrighty, I think that's all we got for now. Thanks to you all for stopping through to listen here at DuoQ. If you think we might have glossed over something big, feel free to say so in comments. Don't forget to share and leave a like. And also, tell us how you felt about the game. Did you grab Kina? How long did it take you to beat? Next time you're waiting for a lobby or searching for a party, feel free to tune in again while you wait. See ya!
Later, guys. Yusuke Urameshi ain't got shit on this.